This is BAIT, Life Outside the Federal Witness Protection Program. Hey, it's Suze, and welcome to this late night episode of Keep the Bad Guys Away. Boy, I gotta talk quietly. Hey, you know what? I've been hashing this whole thing out because I keep having lots of problems in lots of different ways. And you know what I think it was? I have a feeling that everything is being run through this frickin' damn FISA court. Keep in mind that we're dealing with terrorism. So I have a feeling everything is being run through FISA. Now, where they couldn't get away with this in Arizona is because I threw a bunch of these letters from Senator John McCain and the ICE letter and all that. I threw that in federal court, and I'll give you the case number. It's CV 11978 PHC ECV, Nisley versus Weish. So that's the U.S. Department of Justice. Now get this. I go and I do my initial filing, and then I get a letter from the court, from the federal court, asking me if I want a real judge or a magistrate judge. Well, of course I want the real judge. So I went back and said I want a real judge, and the judge actually dismissed the case based on the fact of knowing that I wouldn't have the ability to run such a case. But I put in there I put the equivalent of criminal intent. So a federal judge already knew this, but here's a big key point in that. When I went back to the federal courthouse and did a second filing with that, the federal courthouse clerk asked me if I was going to file a motion for injunction. And I said, well, not yet. I actually had to go back to the domestic violence shelter I was staying in Apache Junction, Arizona, and figure out if I could do a motion for an injunction and see if I could find something to follow along, a case to follow along with. But you know what? I gotta tell you, dude, you know what? I think that I'm probably, out of all the states in the United States, I'm probably most protected in this state of Arizona because of Senator John McCain, and because of Senator John Kyle, and because of Congressman Ed Pastor. And the fact that the Secret Service had sent me a letter there, and I got most of my letters come from Arizona, from the NSA, from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and so forth. And so those all have Phoenix, Arizona addresses on them, and now all that stuff was filed with the federal court. So that really just shocked the heck out of the judge. Now, where I think I started having problems is when I left Arizona, because fraud was already determined pretty heavily in Arizona. I leave Arizona and I go into Texas, and then this Deputy Jennifer told me to make missing persons reports on my family. Well, maybe that was the right answer, but that was also probably the wrong answer, because that would actually push things into another district in which they could use FISA, where they're not going to be able to use FISA in Arizona. You see, sometimes you have to be smarter than the people that you ask to help you. Granted, I needed to find my family, and like I said, it was probably the right answer. Make missing persons reports, but obviously not making missing persons reports in other districts. Now, I did try to do that with the Phoenix police, but you know what? I just couldn't get anybody to take any reports. So I have a feeling I was being in some ways set up. I'm glad I'm in Mexico, and I'm glad that there's a higher power. So as soon as I find out if they are whipping things through FISA, I'll let you know. But I had one hell of a time. I've had more near-death experiences, more near-death kidnappings since I went over this whole case with Special Agent Phil Roney up in Buffalo, New York. That comes from Rochester PD, me talking to the marshals, and then Special Agent Phil Roney. I've had more trouble after that than I've had in the last 4 years. So it's after that point. So somebody's running something through FISA, because I'm getting hit like a whip, like it's not, like it's totally crazy. But that's what I said. When I went over this case with Special Agent Phil Roney, I said, do you know I have an ICC case open? And he said no. So you know what? Guess what? I'm in Mexico, and they have a treaty with the ICC, and guess what? In the United States, you don't, so fuck off. So don't try to, think that you can just take me out in the United States and nobody's going to ever know about it, because I did talk to the ICC even after I went over that case with Special Agent Phil Roney. So you know what? They're wrapping this through the FISA court, that damn freaking corrupt fucking FISA court. Once I find out who's causing this, I'm going to add that on to my ICC case. So anyway, that's tonight's episode of Keep the Bad Guys Away. Keep your stuff in handy. See you next time.